if you don't use it before everybody else is doing that, you will be out of the game. I think this is something most companies do not really understand yet. If you do that right, it can be a game changer. And I believe if some of the new players play that more smart, they will easily outbeat the old players.
What is your goal? If you look at ASAP Group and HCL and you look at the next 2 to 3 years, what's your goal?
Welcome to In the Passenger Seat with Fields and Rudd, a new innovative video series that's going to be giving you an insight to some of the best leaders right across the automotive industry.
Today, in our first ever episode, we are meeting an industry executive, someone who's disrupted the market across the likes of autonomous driving and AI, coming from some of the biggest players in the industry, from OEMs through to tier 1 suppliers. It's the one and only Mr. Frank Petznick.
So, Frank, welcome to In the Passenger Seat, our first episode, our first guest. Looking back at your career, working at some of the biggest names from VW, Bertrand, Heller, the board at Continental, what do you think it takes to get to where you are in your career?
Yeah, this is a question I ask myself very often. So it is like, it certainly takes the spirit of being a bit adventurous, being open. And I always was like looking for the next thing I could make an impact and where I really can do some more different things, different countries, different technologies, but still overarching. I mean, I'm working in automotive, so I'm trying to make an impact in the automotive industry because I believe there's a number of things will come. And it's always changing, and it's even changing faster now, so that makes it so fascinating.
I think that is the one constant, isn't it, throughout your career, that you've always been in the automotive industry. What is it that inspired that at the start?
I was doing my studies in Braunschweig, which is in the northern of Germany, not too far away from Volkswagen. So I was kind of thinking, should it be more airplanes, because coming from a pilot household, or cars. But then I got this very interesting opportunity to do my thesis in Volkswagen, and later on they offered me a job. So I said, look, let's give the cars a chance. And then I really developed a strong addiction to those cars because it's a fascinating technology. It's a technology which everybody can use, but still high tech and still the latest and greatest, and it should not fail. It's not like a consumer electronics. It's something which you really need to have absolutely reliable, but still having the latest and greatest technology in there. So that was really fascinating for me.
Has there ever been a moment where you've considered leaving the industry?
Oh, definitely, several. And
Today?
not necessarily, today. I mean, there would be a good reason, certainly, but I'm looking to other industries too. And recently, I found it super fascinating what is developed in the health sector, and I see this is super important for the next couple of years to come. So, how to improve the health sector with AI, with different technologies, and I'm also personally pretty much looking into startups of longevity and so on. This is a fascinating topic too. But it's also, I mean, if I want to make an impact, certainly I can do that in an industry which I'm very familiar with. So I'm able to see what is going on, and I can better shape the outcome. So that's why I'm still here. But it's, of course, I'm still thinking, not every day, but from time to time, I think, could I use the knowledge I accumulated over the last couple of 20 years in a different industry as well? Because sometimes, automotive is a front runner, and you might apply those methods and tools and ideas also in other industries.
I guess your role within HCL, the fact that they don't just operate in automotive, gives you a bit of an insight into how other markets and industries are running as well.
That was one of a big decision point for me to also join HCL Tech, because as you said, they are doing this in all different industries. Specifically in the engineering service we're working, but also IT and IT services. This is in every single industry you can imagine. So working from medical to aerospace to banking to the transportation and all the like industries like Google cloud services and so on. So it's everywhere. So this gives me a pretty good exposure and also insight in some other industry verticals, which I really much appreciate.
Yeah. I remember we were talking off air, weren't we, yesterday, about your fascination into AI and how it goes into different industries. But that seems to be a clear kind of disruptor in the automotive industry. What's your take on it?
I don't think it will go into the industry. It will completely change the industry. Mm-hmm. If you look and see, many people do not really see that or try to ignore it maybe. If you see what happened in the last 2 years, where we have been 2 years ago in terms of AI and where we are now, this is incredible. I mean, this is so fast, and it's not like a gradual shift and a change and then something coming slowly around the corner. No, it's changing everything. Mm-hmm. So, and I believe a number of our very well known ideas and the way we are doing things will completely change in the next 2 or 3 years. I'm not talking about 10 years. I'm talking about 2 or 3 years. The industry will change. The way we are doing things will change, and so that's it's not AI is adding. It is really changing the industry, not only in automotive.
Who do you think that will affect most within the automotive industry?
It will affect everyone. I believe that the way we design cars, we design software will be completely changed. That means also, of course, you have, and many people will say, but there's so much experience in the industry, so you cannot replace experience with an AI. I partly agree, but partly not. It will change the way we design 3D models for cars. It will change the way we produce cars. It will change the way we are producing hardware and designing hardware, how we write software, if we do write software by ourselves still. It will give a little bit of a balance between the established players you have in the market and the new players in the market. So whoever is coming new as a car manufacturer or maybe a tier and is able to utilize AI might be on the level of the legacy players way faster than everybody would assume. So this means that the legacy players might lose a bit their advantage. So it will typically help companies who adapt faster. And at this moment, at least, I can see everybody is trying, but the more legacy you have, the more difficult it might be for you to change that mindset fast enough.
For the legacy players, it will just take them a lot longer to be able to adapt and change.
Absolutely, yeah.
And yeah, okay. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. And we're seeing that a lot, even across our industry, how the companies who have been around for the longer period of time, the companies that are established, sometimes it's harder for them to change. It's more difficult for them to change.
How would you describe the automotive industry at the moment?
It's in a very uncertain stage, I would say. It's mainly because you have different type of companies coming and going in there. So you have the established value chain with the tier ones, the tier twos, OEMs, who did it for a long time. They have established processes and so on. Then there are a number of new guys coming up, OEMs, startup OEMs from Asia, China, but also in the US. You see a number of companies who just take advantage of the situation that it's easier to build an electric car than in a combustion engine in the traditional way. They are much more focused around software, still trying to keep up on the same level of building the actual car. And then you see the semiconductor industry massively taking over the role as a tier one in front of the OEMs, coming with their own software stack and have a clear idea how the semiconductor should be embedded in a system. The roles are changing. 20, 30 years established roles will change, and they do that very rapidly. So that's why I say it's a bit of a disruption, but also a complete shift of who is creating which part of that value chain, and who is at the end in control of the value delivered to the customer. So what is the USP? What is the USP of a car?
Yeah.
What is the user, what is he paying for? And then this comes then in the same time when the mobility is changing. We might see different models of mobility. Is the personal owned car, is that the future, or is there other models around? So a number of things are moving. It's the way how we do things. It's the way how are the use cases for the cars, the end user demand, what they want to see in a car. So this all creates a very interesting area of change, I would say. It also creates an area of uncertainty, and a lot of players, including the big car makers, the tiers, the engineering service companies, seeking their own place into this new order of the chain.
You mentioned yesterday, Frank, about the kind of valley that you see the automotive industry in at the moment. Is there a way out of that? And if so, when do you think these tier one suppliers could actually see a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel?
I mean, the valley is driven by also the market demand, obviously. Overall, we have a geopolitical situation, we have a financial situation in the global market. So obviously there is less demand. This is basically overarching and underlying the economic situation in the world is that we have a shift in the value chain, as I said before. So some of those big tier ones, they played a significant role as a system integrator, system company, which where this role might come more closer to the semiconductor world. So the traditional tier one, even the bigger tier ones, are moving more towards having the right components, the right sensors, actuators, and all those needed components of the car, while the software and the system to drive the software is more and more coming from different sources. So it's not to say that yes, there is a valley in the auto industry, and I think we will see some upside also in the years to come, hopefully. But will this upwards trend go to all the tiers, to all the players? I don't think so.
No.
There will be some players who are not existing,
Yeah.
or not existing in the way they exist today.
Yeah.
Others will be much, much bigger and much, much more dominant in the play. But these are two different things. The one is the industry per se, the demand, and also the global competition we see. And we see definitely new players moving faster than some of the established players. But the other thing is the technology, the value chain, which is changing, which is then also give a challenge for these existing companies.
Are you noticing that the new players that you talk about are coming from specific areas of the world?
I would be very sure that, I mean, we see that in the OEMs, we see a lot of good cars coming from China recently, right? So they are well equipped, very nicely put with connectivity and all these new software features. China will definitely play a role, and they are also intensively working on AI, on their own chips, on their own software and AI models. So I would believe that there's definitely something coming out of China, also in terms of next tier ones, maybe driven by, let's say, software more than hardware. So huge software tier ones. But the same I would see at the moment, looking from the HCL tech perspective, I see a massive change also in India. You know, India is a country which is doing a lot of software for the world already, but is also adopting now AI very fast, because they know they need it. They know that this is if you don't use it before everybody else is doing that, you will be out of the game. So there is a high motivation and a high push from those companies. I would see those the next tier ones, both out of China and then India, depending of course how the geopolitical situation will end up at the end. You will see a number of course, software-driven, AI-driven things, also from the US markets. Also something might come out of Europe, but from the OEM perspective, I see China very strong. I might see a shift also for the one or the other OEM in Europe to turn around the whole idea and to be part of that. And also, of course, in the US. From the tech perspective, it will be, let's see whether it will be 2 different worlds or 3 different worlds, but it will be definitely, there will be centers. And I don't see Europe leading this race at the moment.
I was going to say, actually, what are Chinese OEMs doing differently to European OEMs?
Yeah, I mean, as you know, I lived there 12 years in China, so
you're a good person to ask.
I had the one or the other insight, not only to the Chinese OEMs, also to my Chinese team. I personally had with HELLA to that time. If they decide for something, they go for it, full in, and really full in. And of course, they also do something which maybe nobody in Europe would consider, to develop 5 car lines and see which one is going best, and then just stop the other 4. So it's a very bold game of try and error. Also very capital intensive game. The entire market, the entire Chinese market is super competitive. So you take a big bet or you leave it. So, and if you're growing up in this environment, naturally you not everyone who is doing this will survive the game, but the ones who survive the game, they're very proven in terms of their business ideas. If they are able to compete within China, they are definitely able to compete in the world. So this is a different philosophy, I would say. In the Western world, we try to be a bit more sustainable, but sometimes we are discussing very long time before we do something in order to be more sustainable maybe at the end, but it takes us ages to reach that point. While in Asia, not only China, I see very often this try and error approach. So be very fast, fail early, and then try again.
What do you see as the biggest difference in the culture and the leadership of where you are now compared to the traditional tier ones that you've worked with in the past?
It's a very interesting cultural journey I have. Looking to HCL Tech, what I really appreciate is they always think big. They never think small. So it's always the big plan, the big vision is behind. If there's a vision, then they do very, very bold moves to go ahead, to really achieve what is needed, and to really do the extra mile, trying everything possible to make those big things happen. Specifically, if you compare that to like the traditional German way of doing things, it looks crazy at the first place, but it is really promising, because if you don't try, if you don't set your targets very high, you might not reach any good level of success. So, and they did a tremendous story of success in the last 10-15 years. So they obviously this pays off. So this in comparison, and I see that now directly in a comparison, of course, also with the team of ASAP, which was acquired by HCL Tech and is now integrated into the company. Of course, ASAP is a much smaller company, so it's not just a cultural thing. It's between 2 countries. It's also the cultural thing between a small company and a big company. Where you see that in ASAP, we have very good experts, very good people who understand precisely what the automotive industry is about and what they need. But the thinking is more in a smaller project circle. It's not like the big deal. If you combine both, it could be very powerful, because if you have this big vision, and you have people on the ground who really understand what is needed, and you can combine those two, it's fantastic.
What does a day in the life look like for you now then, from a work perspective?
There's no day. There's no standard day, let's say. Yeah. So it's
because you did start by telling us you get up at 4 a.m. to go to the gym, but I don't know if that's entirely true.
No. I get sometimes I'm catching up with some Indian time zone issues at 4 a.m. and I go to the gym at 6 a.m. So no, but it's a lot of different things. This week I'm at ASAP in Germany, so I'm trying to catch up with as many people as I can to have this FaceTime. Then there are other weeks, like next week, where I'm completely traveling to customers, meeting customers, explain our story, because this is the same thing with internal. I have to explain to our customers what does it mean that there is an ASAP and an HCL Tech as a combination. How does it benefit them? How can this combination be very valuable? So the next week I will traveling around in Europe and finding the right customer contacts. And of course, there are other weeks where I spend in India with my Indian teams and trying to have as much face time there to explain again and to see how we shape the organization. While at the same time, we as a management team design a global structure for our teams to bring these teams closer together.
We have a saying in the UK, Frank, that is when shit hits the fan.
Yeah.
Yeah? Over the last 27 years, what has been your career moment where you have thought, shit, this has gone really wrong?
You don't have to admit it. You can say
Or has there never been one?
Yeah.
Oh no. Oh, that would be fantastic.
This is out of the show.
That would be fantastic. I have some moments where the first big market downturn I faced in China to that time. That was not 2008, 2009 when I started. There was everything else was going down, but China not. But later on, we had some very ambitious targets, and we set ourselves and our organization to reach those targets. And then we see the market is turning down. It was a very steep decline, and we had to react. And my team wasn't prepared. I wasn't prepared. Basically going from full throttle to full brake within a couple of weeks, under high pressure by the headquarters, say, hey, you have to perform, what is going on with your figures, and so on. That put me in a completely different situation where I had to react to a situation I never expected and I never lived through. It was, we made it at the end, but the weeks and months until we reached then our turnaround was very painful. This was not the best time of my life. Although now I can also look with to some of my issues I have today, because as I said, the market is not good, right?
Yeah.
So we're all struggling. We all have to redefine what we want to do, where we want to play. It helps a lot to have been in this situation before, to adapt yourself to a completely changed environment. Maybe it's not as dramatic as now, but always if you are in that situation, it feels way more dramatic than it is in the real.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's why I say there was some pretty much downturn in my career, where I also questioned myself, am I the right guy to go through that crisis?
Really?
Yeah. Sometimes you have doubts, yeah. So, and I'm looking always to me before I look to the team. Yeah? So I say, am I the right leader? At the end, it was good. It was fantastic. We made it very well, but it was in that moment you couldn't see that. Yeah.
What about outside of work, Frank? I know you're a family man, you have a daughter. What would you say is your best achievement outside of your working life?
My best achievement certainly is my daughter. Yeah, I have to say. No, I mean, yeah, truth to be told, there is a limited time outside the business.
Yeah.
And this is probably also because we were moving a lot as a family to the world. We are very close as a family, so we enjoy being with each other, which is not always the case. I know a number of my friends where they have a bit different relationship maybe with their kids. So we have a very strong family, I have good friends, and I still find time to maintain that. This is something which I personally find is a good achievement.
Is that a work-life balance then? Are we talking about that?
Yeah, that's exactly. That's a work-life. If you can talk about work-life balance, this is it. Yeah. So, and it's more the small things. It's being with the people you like, be it family or friends. It's having time and spending time with them. This is something which gives me at least a lot. And then also I love to meet people. I love to go out on a Saturday night in the city to meet people. So, and we're still doing this, and even my wife and I doing this still. So we never stop going out together, which I also can say, if I look around left or right, not everybody's doing this in the mid-50s. So we're still enjoying that. So it's
in the mid-30s, Frank. You actually mentioned, I think, you mentioned yesterday in your dream carpool, you would have your daughter in there, as well as, I think it was Richard Branson and Jensen Huang, the CEO of NVIDIA.
Yeah.
So you have your daughter in there to challenge them.
Yeah, I found it an interesting idea, because whenever I talk about some of my ideas and the industry players, I found she has of course, I mean, she's looking in the world as an 18-year-old and have different ideas in her mind. So at first, I mean, I met Richard Branson once, so He's a great guy. I mean, I like this. I read all his books before I met him, so it was a pure coincidence that I was able to meet him later on. Also, Jensen is, I mean, the way he is changing the outer world, not only the outer, but the outer world, and which role he plays in the background for the AI development. It's amazing. I found it interesting to see those people who in their very own way changed a number of things. Interesting to have a conversation in a carpool. And I just added my daughter to that one, because I know that her opinion of many of these quote unquote big achievements is a different one. So she would probably ask immediately what these guys would do to make the world a better place.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, is here they might even agree, was the first question Richard Branson asked me when I met him first, and said, what are you doing to make this world a better place?
Did you flip it back to him?
Yeah, but he had a better answer. Because he's doing a lot of projects which is trying to improve that, which I couldn't counter in the first place. Yeah.
Talking about social media, Frank, I know you're on LinkedIn a lot. You're doing a lot of posts at the moment for ASAP and trying to kind of create that kind of interest around the company. How big do you think social media is becoming now in the automotive sector?
I think it's not only automotive, it's overall, it's becoming super important. It's a challenge also for the society, but it's also an incredible instrument to position yourself. Why a challenge? Because we all know that there's these information bubbles where people, I mean, if you want to listen, you have a certain idea what you want to see, you will see only that one. So this is, super dangerous if these algorithms lead to exactly the split in the society, what we're seeing now in many, many countries. But on the other side, it's also a super powerful instrument to reach people, because I know many people in different age groups using different type of social media, but they are all, many of them using them, be it YouTube or TikTok or even LinkedIn is going now. Everything is going more into feeds now, into videos, into authentic people. And I think because everything becomes more digital, more artificial, also you can create a lot of things nowadays with AI.
Yeah.
People are looking for the authentic view on specific individuals. So they want to see who is behind that shiny surface. So it's not about social media per se, which is changing also maybe automotive, but I think companies need to understand that the times where you make a lot of staged videos which are really nicely polished and cut here and cut there, and you have actors doing some ideas on stage, that's not what people want to see, because you can create this easily with AI. You can stage a lot of things, you can write scripts with AI. So this is all artificial. What people want to have, they want to really see how the people behind a company acting. What is that for a type of personality?
Yeah.
And you see in recent examples, I don't want to pull some names here, but how single leaders position themselves wrong in the public can ruin their entire company. People want to see who is the guy, who is that lady behind that company. And I think this is something most companies do not really understand yet. If you do that right, it can be a game changer. And I believe, you said, what is the auto industry? If some of the new players play that more smart, they will easily outbeat the old players. Of course, the others could do that too, the legacy players, but they're doing necessarily harder.
Yeah.
Because they have a traditional way of thinking marketing.
What do you mean by playing smart?
Playing smart is bringing people in front of the cameras, using all the different social media channels, being consistent in your message, being clear in your message, but being don't make these shiny movies. To bring somebody who is talking directly what you're thinking to the market, to the audience, and That's what I think is smart. Yeah. So you can place your product as well, but place it in a way people want to see it. If you see the typical TikTok behavior, I mean, very, very many people do not pay attention more than 10 seconds. Yeah? So
If that.
if that, exactly. And they only pay the 10 seconds if in the first second they get attracted.
Yeah.
Otherwise they swipe you away. So you must be different. You must be different and you must be authentic. If the first 1 second is some shiny made up video, nobody will listen. So that's why I say we need to think about differently how we do marketing online and how we do social media, but then it can be a big game changer.
Are you on TikTok yourself?
No, not really. That's a big it's something on my list. I was debating myself, or should we do that as a company? The company seems to be a bit more difficult because even in big tech companies, it's not very creative in terms of bringing people in TikTok. But this is something I consider. Certainly, I did this when I did my own business. In between Conti and HCL Tech. If I will go back to my own business one time, I will probably do that more strongly. At this moment, I'm more compliant to the platforms we are using as a corporate.
Yeah, TikTok seems to be taking over the world.
Oh, it does. It's everywhere where it's not banned.
Yeah.
And TikTok is specifically in India. You might know it's not allowed. So it's so that's why it's for an Indian company maybe not the right platform.
Yeah. What's the 1 second of TikTok material that would keep you attracted to watch the video, Frank?
It's probably the 1 second where somebody tells me what it's about. So it's most likely it's something where I say, wow, that's unusual, or the statement the individual is bringing is I say, wow, that's controversial, right? Oh, wow, that's a bold statement. So that keeps me listening, but not always. I mean, it depends certainly, but this is something where most of the people I follow longer is they are, let's say, at least showing some content which not everybody would post because they would be afraid to say, oh, can I say that? Can I not say that? And it's not these radical ideas, but it's like being very, very honest about some things. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes the people who are brutally honest and get their view across and their point across.
That's right, yeah.
What's your involvement in the tech startups?
I'm invested in some of those startups, not as a key investor, but enough to be maybe on a board level, kind of an advisory function. I have a number of friends doing very well in the venture scene, so I have a pretty much pretty frequent exchange with some of those, saying what are the new trends. Why is this successful? Why this might not be successful? So what implication would that have for the industry, for our society? So those things. So it's really, but then in some of these startups, I'm going a bit deeper and trying to be helpful for the management, trying to scale the business, trying to maybe also connect some people. This is a lot of fun. So that would be something which I did in this 1 year and more intensively. Before joining HCL Tech, but this is something I could imagine also to do for a very long time after I might leave any corporate job one time. Yeah. So.
Will you ever retire? Do you think you'll just continuously?
No, I don't want. I don't think I will retire in a way what most people, at least some generation, understood under retirement. So no, I probably won't. I will change the idea of how I work. More self-driven, doing more what I want, keeping more time for myself maybe, but retiring in terms of not doing any work, no, I don't think so. That would be boring.
Will your wife let you get away with that?
Yeah, I guess, because she's the same.
Okay.
No, it's not the same, but she runs her own business too, so It's important is that you get the right level of balance for your relationship with your friends, with your family, to your work, and that might shift with the time.
Yeah.
Right? So it might shift more towards the friends and family, but it doesn't mean that we bring the one side to zero.
Yeah.
That's exactly why I'm not trying to bring my relationships with friends and family now to zero, I won't bring the business to zero later on. So this is always, it shifts just by how much time you want to spend and where.
What was your dream job growing up?
At the very early stage, it was a helicopter pilot, as my father was. Then my eye doctor said that's not a good idea. So then it changed to more engineering, but I was never a hardcore engineer. I was studying all this engineering thing. I know I can do math and I have a certain understanding of technology. I like programming. I earned a lot of money as a student with programming things. But I was always sure that this is not my destiny. So I wanted to make a bigger impact with bigger teams. So I didn't know whether it goes to the top management positions or at least, but I always thinking about like coordinating a team or a project or something bigger. So I always consider this as an entry ticket to the whatever I like. And this is also, that's what I said, being flexible. So there's not this one dream you have to go. You have to know what you want to do, maybe as the next step. Same as I tell my daughter, it doesn't matter what you study. This is not your lifetime decision. You're young, so if you do this today, you can say tomorrow. So if you want to go to another country, you go in another country. So don't be too fixed on one thing.
Yeah, and that's obviously taken you into the position you're in today. Looking at the future of the industry, what advice would you give to a future leader?
You should be able to be open to completely different ideas, how things are done in a different way, in a different culture. Be open, listen a lot. Don't talk too much at the first place. Because I think the world becomes more complex on the one side, but it also needs, we are still humans in this world. There's a certain aspect with all the technology and all these new disruptive ideas, we still need to be able to bring a team behind an idea. And so I would recommend every leader to be very, very humble, but also never stop learning what is going on. And don't forget that there is, you need to always find an application of whatever you learn in technology to the team you are working with. So this is something which sometimes is a bit forgotten if you talk about the big disruptions in the tech world and what it means in terms of technology, but what does it mean in terms of the single individuals? What does it mean for our society? Some people lose it a little bit out of sight, so we should keep that in mind. But what I see at the moment, the changes become more on a higher speed. So obviously you have to adapt faster, also as a leader. So these all in the past, you saw that some leadership principles changed over the course of 10, 20 years. I think this will be faster in the future. So you have to be much more flexible.
We've covered a lot of ground across your career, Frank, and what you've been doing over the last 27 years. Taking the conversation outside of work now, how would your friends describe you?
Yeah, certainly some will say I'm working too much.
I wouldn't have guessed that one, would you, Jamie?
Yeah, well, you might not have guessed, I don't know. They also know that I can incredible switch to a party mode, which probably not everybody would assume in the first place.
Is this coming from Richard Branson?
No, that's not, but that was a commonality we had. No, I really love to, if there's a good opportunity with friends, I can really be in a complete party mode. They would also describe me probably as very disciplined because outside the weekend, I'm following a pretty strict schedule. Also personally.
And diet,
exercise.
Yeah.
So that's something which is keeping a bit of stability in my life.
Yeah.
So to be as a counterpart to my not so predictable business life.
I love that phrase you said last night when you said, I've made a 40-year study that drinking alcohol does not make me feel well the next day.
Yeah.
I'm going to use it.
As it is a 40-year study, it's not over yet. So.
Yeah.
But I'm coming closer to that conclusion. Yes.
Yeah.
It doesn't help. That's why during the week, no, I'm not so big of a party guy, but so save them for the weekend.
Any parties that stand out?
No, not specifics one, but
None that can be on camera.
exactly I want to talk about. Yeah.
Are you the karaoke man?
Not necessarily, no. You can put me on a dance floor, but not on a karaoke
Okay.
machine. Which is funny because in the Indian culture I learned it's both very famous, singing and dancing. I'm more on the dancing side.
Okay.
But the dancing is wild.
How long are you spending in India?
How long I will or I did?
Or how long in this current role? How often are you there? How often are you traveling there?
I mean, I'm six months in the company. I spent almost the entire November there. And then 2 more trips, a couple of weeks. So not the majority of the time, because I see the majority is still with the customers and connecting with the team also in Germany. It's a significant time, and I try to be there once a month. I'm not very good. In average, maybe I made it, but I'm not very good in that one. But certainly, I mean, half of my team is sitting there. All of my peers are sitting. Not all my peers, but many of my peers sitting there. So it's certainly a place to be. Yeah.
What is your goal? If you look at ASAP Group and HCL and you look at the next 2 to 3 years, what's your goal?
I mean, number one, that there is a feeling of the majority of the people, it will never be everyone, but the majority of the people that we are working as one team. There's one team which is trying to achieve a common vision, and also certainly take an advantage, or let's say take a turnaround in the development we have at this moment, because we could be the solution to many of the problems of our customers, because we can scale in India, we can scale big, we can be very efficient in also trying to leverage the commercial pressure. We have good technology even in there. We can bring that into other games. So if we can turn that into a positive business outcome for the 2 companies in the automotive, that will be certainly one of my goals. As I said, as a joint team. There's a long way to go to be really on exactly the same page. And certainly we will see some setbacks here, and we have to convince the one or the other customer, but this I'm pretty sure that can be done.
Right, so we have a few minutes left, Frank. We're going to ask you a quick this or that question.
Sure.
We have selected 12 questions to represent your 12 years spent in Shanghai, although none of the questions are about Asia. So, driver or passenger?
Driver.
Driver. I thought you'd say that. Rom-com or thriller?
What?
Rom-com, so a romantic comedy.
Oh, I
guessing.
Sorry, I didn't know that one. Yeah?
Maybe that's just an English phrase, rom-com, yeah.
Yeah, it might be, but it's more the thriller.
Thriller, so we're going thriller.
Favourite thriller film?
Oh, no, I don't have one.
You don't have one.
So it's neither, basically. Okay, let's go angry client or angry co-worker.
Angry client.
We can edit that bit out anyway, it's fine. Cat or dog?
Cattle dog.
Cat or dog?
Jesus Christ, you have to work on your accent. No, we have a cat at home. So I'm not a big pet guy, but my family is, so we have a cat at home.
Germany or Asia?
Asia.
That was quick.
It was quick.
I outlined the reasons for that one.
Yeah.
LinkedIn or TikTok?
TikTok.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
That's a surprise.
Yeah.
It's more entertainment. Yeah, I know I'm not on TikTok yet. Yeah, I know, but it's more. I think the format is more is much more future oriented. LinkedIn is moving towards TikTok now. So this says a lot, right? So they introduce feeds and swiping and whatnot. So it's I think the more modern format is the TikTok. This video directly.
So watch out for Frank Petznick's new TikTok channel coming soon.
Maybe I start with video on LinkedIn first and try to get my feet wet there, and then we move on.
Tea or coffee?
Coffee.
That was quick.
Specific coffee?
No,
No?
just black and a lot.
That's a busy man. Email or phone call?
Huh. Good question. Recently more email. Just the reason is I'm working to too many time zones and I never know whether the other guy is there to be called now. But typically it's better to have a call, but recently in a global business, usually you tend to go to email.
Okay,
Well, it's more WhatsApp actually than email.
WhatsApp.
I'll add
Yeah.
that one on. Plans or surprises?
I try to plan a lot, but I'm working more spontaneously, so it's more surprises.
Start work late or leave work early? Or neither?
I start early and leave late. Does it count too?
Sports car or SUV?
Sports car.
Yeah, I feel like we had that one already, didn't we, Dan?
Yeah. Dream sports car? Do you have a dream one?
I don't have a really a dream one. The Sapphire, I think it's Sapphire is called, the Lucid Air.
Yeah.
That is something I would love to drive once, test drive. This is a full equipped super thing, the flagship.
Yeah.
Whether it's my dream car or not, I don't know. I like driving fast, electrical or petrol, it doesn't matter. But this might also change if we ever come to a speed limit in Germany. So then and it only makes sense in a country where you can drive like crazy on a road. Right?
Yeah.
So if you have a speed limit of 120 kilometers per hour, you don't need a sports car.
And final one, still water or sparkling water?
Sparkling water. I'm still German. Eh?
Yeah. I thought that would be the case. Do you have a dream car overall? So not necessarily a sports car, but just a dream car.
Actually, I don't. It's really fantastic. I don't have it's not like I have a car. Oh, if I would. Well, no, I don't. So it's. I like cars and I like fast cars, but it's not like that I have this one dream in my mind, or I would even start collecting cars or something. I don't do this. So it's not like we have as many cars in the family as we need for our daily jobs. There could be fun cars though, but it doesn't have to be like twice the number I need.
So, Frank, we will be ending each episode with a final question, and that is, who would you like to see in the passenger seat next?
Yeah, I thought about that one too, and I have a friend, he's also called Frank. I have no idea whether he has time to do that, and he will find the time, and he wants to find the time, but I would like to see Frank Huber here in this car. You know, with Frank, I spent a couple of years in China. He moved then on now, being the board member for lighting in Heller, moved on then later on to Faurecia, no, Marelli. So it's interesting to would have him on that car here. Not that car certainly, but a car in the passenger seat.
I was just praying you weren't going to say Richard Branson, because I don't know how, how we were getting him here.
Yeah, that would be a challenge. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, perfect. Frank Huber it is.
Might be a challenge too. So let's see.